Welcome to the Endpoints podcast, presented by the ALS Therapy Development Institute. I'm Jonathan Gang. Kids Quest to Cure ALS is an organization for kids, by kids. Their mission is to get young people involved in the fight against ALS. The group was founded by kids in the US and Canada, all of whom have been affected by a loved one's ALS diagnosis. They are encouraging people under the age of 18 across both countries to band together to help raise funds for ALS research and bring awareness to the disease. Today, on Endpoints, we're joined by several members of the Kids Quest Steering Committee to tell us more about the inspiration behind their mission and why it's important to involve young people in the fight against ALS. Caitlin, who is 15, is from Maryland, between Baltimore and D.C. She's lost several family members to ALS, and her grandmother is currently living with the disease. She says that Kids Quest aims to make ALS as well known as diseases that get more attention in the popular consciousness.
So Kids Quest was created to basically get ALS to be more well known. ALS is not as well of a known disease as cancer, but it still takes millions of lives and impacts so many people. So the goal for this is to get it more well known within our generation, within the younger groups, because we are the ones that will be carrying this disease on forward and keep on advocating for more fundraising, for more known, and just to help find a cure.
Jason and Colin are from London, Ontario, and are 17 and 14. Their father is currently living with ALS. Jason says that there are many options kids can consider when planning an event to participate in the Kids Quest.
I'm trying to do activities and different ideas that the committees can't come up with for how kids can raise awareness. So there's iced tea, which is started in the U.S., and you can do lemonade and what else? Maybe talking to someone like an influencer or something like that, or maybe a dance at school, something like that, or like a walk, or lots of ideas on how we can help end this and get more awareness and funding.
The idea for Kids Quest to Cure ALS started with Clara and Ellie, who are 12 and 10 and live in New Jersey. In 2023, they held an event selling iced tea on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. to raise funds to support ALS research at ALS TDI. Their event was so successful, they decided to join forces with other kids who were as passionate about ending ALS as they were, says Ellie.
So we were at doing our iced tea stand on Capitol Hill last year, and we met people who were visiting from Canadian Parliament, and we met them and managed to set up iced tea stand there at Parliament to raise awareness.
So from that iced tea stand, we met with the Canadian parliamentarian Judy Scrow, and we were able to set up Blossom, this idea of Kids Quest. So then we created a group of kids from the US and kids from Canada, had Zoom meetings, collaborated on this idea, and now we have this awesome product of the Kids Quest.
Colin and Jason, who joined Clara, Ellie, and Caitlin on the Kids Quest Steering Committee, also had a background in ALS advocacy and fundraising to draw on.
Before this, at my school last year, after making a Lawson project, which was a grade 8 project that had to be historical and something that interests you, but I decided to do the project about ALS, and I found out a lot more about the disease, and I thought, and before doing that, I was a lot more shy about talking about the disease, and once I did that, I thought, well, what if I decide to try and make an ALS walk at my school? So I decided to do that, and we did that one of the days. And I spoke in front of the 600 kids at my school and a presentation about ALS, so hopefully they learned about that, and hopefully they understand better. And we also did a walk throughout the yard of our school, a walk for ALS, so it was And it was one of the first ALS walks in Canada in June.
In March, actually, like I'm a big Leafs fan, and I watched this YouTuber named Steve Dangle, and he does like he yells about the Leafs and stuff like that. And I emailed him and to see if like he could help raise awareness for ALS, maybe some fundraising. So one of his live streams in the maybe middle or end of March, I think maybe the end of March, he had like the ALS was it the ALS Super Fund and like which my dad's been working on with Mark Person and the ALS Action Group and the ALS Action, and they he talked about it and tried to get people to like donate and buy a T-shirt, which my dad's been working on too with Dave and here in Canada, and so I did that, and he also talked about it a little bit during one of his podcasts, so that's kind of what I did to try and help.
Caitlin says that joining the steering committee was an inspirational way to meet other kids passionate about ending ALS, as they all worked together to create a vision for what the program could be.
Yeah, so that was actually really fun. We had a few Zoom calls, and it was just really empowering because we were all came with ideas, and we shared a bunch of different ideas of names, different examples of things kids can do for the program. And it was just really fun because we took different ideas, combined them with others, and it was just a lot of people brainstorming together to try to come up with what is now Kids Quest.
According to Kara and Caitlin, all kids have to do to participate in the Kids Quest is come up with an idea to raise funds and awareness in their community and register online at the Kids Quest website.
Yeah, so we have a website that has like this function where you can sign up. So you put your name and where you're going to have the event, what the event is. And so we have two different maps, a map of Canada and a map of the US. And so every time a kid has an event, there's going to be a star on an event. So our long-term goal for this year is to have both maps filled up with stars and empowering youth and doing their events and so on.
There's a bunch of different events. We have people hosting iced tea stands, doing presentations at school, doing stuff with their sports teams. It's a bunch of different stuff, and it's really cool to see how everyone's making this their own. The goal is to have these events happening during the last week of May and the first week of June. But if that's unachievable for people, that's perfectly okay. Doing whatever you want to do anytime, like if that's later in the summer, that's perfectly fine. The goal is to just have people doing something and to have you wanting to be involved in some sort of way.
Jason says that the steering committee's biggest goal is to help kids across both countries learn about why we need to end ALS and to raise a significant amount of funds to support research.
Well, I know the goal on the website is $10,000, I think, with the two countries and trying to get as many kids as possible to like work together on this and see like different activities happen around two countries. I'm not sure about the like more goals in the future. I'm not sure.
And I think the biggest aspect that they're going for is they really want to spread awareness, and I think that's a bigger part than raising funds, because when they were selling iced tea or lemonade, I'm sure a lot of the money from the lemonade and iced tea sales would be going to ALS research, but the more important part would be they were also giving people a fact about ALS and introducing them to a part of the disease and letting them know about what it is that these people are suffering from. And most people don't know, and I think it's important that they do, because that's the only way that we're ever gonna end up with enough funds to have enough money for a cure, if that ever happens.
The kids say it's particularly important to get their generation involved in the fight against ALS because they believe they will be the generation to end the disease.
We are the people that are going to be carrying this on. We're the people that are going to be fighting this disease. We might have family members that are fighting this disease. We're the ones who have the power now to start making the change for the future. If we don't start now, it could be too late. So it's really important for us to know what we're dealing with, for us to know what the future could hold, and for us to have an impact.
And I think that we are more of the generation that's probably going to finally raise enough awareness and find a cure. So it's really important to people, for people our age who might become those scientists that find the cure, to know about this.
To learn more about Kids' Quest to Cure ALS and how you can get involved, visit fundraise.als.net/kidsquest. In honor of ALS Awareness Month, all donations made in May to Kids' Quest to Cure ALS will be matched by an anonymous donor. There are currently no treatments to stop or reverse ALS, but the ALS Therapy Development Institute is working to change that. To learn more about ALS TDI and our research to end ALS, visit als.net.